right, we're live. Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
We are testing our video podcasting skills, so bear with us while we get used to this. Trying to make it a normal thing, and Linda's kind of following on Facebook so that we can see if anybody has any questions or anything, and to make sure that it is coming up live. So we are talking about Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and all month long we've been working on this theme, talking about what we learn at the Warrior Forge Project in regards to domestic violence and the warning signs, as well as sharing stories, because I think it's very important to share our stories. And working with the Warrior Forge Project, finding women to work with, we have found that pretty much everybody on our team has had their experiences with domestic violence, if not personally themselves with a family member. So everybody has had their experiences with some type of domestic violence. So It's always a lot to talk about, and unfortunately it happens a lot more commonly than we'd like to admit as a society.
Yeah, somebody always knows somebody, so it's good to talk about it instead of just shying away from it or ignoring it, because you never know when someone's going to need that helping hand, some advice, a way out. If you don't talk about it, then that person is always going to be stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So
one of the things we were just talking about while we were recording the audio podcast is finances, and the difference between arguing with your spouse about finances and somebody controlling the amount of money that you get. Say you get an allowance every month or every week, or you're only allowed to spend so much money, and it's different than creating a budget.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, I have a hard time understanding that. When you say, for me, I'm going to get an allowance. I think we all work hard in this world, and it's like, it's a tough life to have someone over you dictating what you can and cannot do, and what you can spend and what you cannot spend. I don't know, and it's just my opinion. I just don't think it's the healthy way to do it. Everybody's entitled to what they want, and you shouldn't have somebody paying your stuff.
What if somebody argues, well, my husband makes all the money, so he gets to decide what it's spent on?
No, I think if the one person, the head of household, is making the money, I think, in the beginning of the relationship, you're going to sit and you're going to go through all the money. You're going to go through the bills. You're going to go through what do you both have to spend at the end when everything is paid. You should have a limit.
Mm-hmm. You have a budget. Yeah, a budget's normal.
Yeah, so that way you don't feel like, oh, well, he's only going to give me this. Well, no, there's only so much that you can spend. So there's a difference.
So there's a difference.
Yeah, if you communicate, then you shouldn't feel that way. And you shouldn't have to say it in that sense, like, oh, I'm going to get an allowance. No, it's what's available.
And there is no black and white. If you feel like you're being controlled, you should say something, because it could be that it's a miscommunication. But if you feel like you're being controlled, you should always listen to your intuition. So Linda and I were talking about using your intuition and how she felt in her past relationships in not listening to those warning signs.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
We'll talk a little bit about the
stalking.
Save
my life at 18.
How about the stalking situation?
Oh, the stalking. That was fun. No, it was horrible. It was something that I've never in my life thought I would have to experience. Especially being married for 12 years, and being married at a young age at 18, and then getting divorced when you're like 30. You have no idea how to date. You don't know what to look for. And then you're, like, for me, I was just like, oh, I want to meet a great guy. Well, I don't even know what that means. So what do you base that on? Church, maybe someone with a good job. And so I was doing the criterias, and, it just, for some reason it didn't work. And, unfortunately, the person was very religious. The person did come from, how should I say it? I don't want to say their job, but they had authority. They had a lot of authority. And so I think that person's job got a little bit over their head, and that made them controlling as well. So not only could they already have been controlling, their job duty is to be controlling.
Right.
So
So he wanted to control everything in his life.
Oh yeah, I started seeing it and I only dated the guy 1 year, so I started noticing the signs not till the end of the year. I mean, like you said, it was
you had that honeymoons
and
period.
Super sweet, fancy dinners, going out dancing. I mean, it was fun, not a red flag at all. And then little by little, it's like, oh, can you be home when I'm home? And I didn't live in the area, so, I had my 2 children, and I lived 100 miles away. So it was always like me coming and me staying and me making food. And I thought, well, wait a second, I was already married for 12 years. What am I doing? And then I just thought, no, this is fine. He's working. And I wasn't working at the time, so I felt like, okay, this is how I can repay, for him. He works and I'm not working right now because I'm injured. So it was just like, I just kept putting that in my mind. And then I would want to go out with my family because it was an opportunity while he's working. I get to go hang out with my family, and I sometimes wouldn't make it back on time. And he would be so upset. And why are you not here? You should be here. And I'm hungry. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is worse than my marriage. Like, it was literally worse than when I was married. Wow. At least I never had him talk to me like that.
Did you think he was joking at first, or
did
it come on so suddenly?
No, I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I thought, is he serious right now? And then I would say that too, because I'm very outspoken, and I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, I'm very serious. I work and you should be here. And I'm like, but I'm not married to you. And you know what kind of relationship I came from? If you're going to be that person, then I don't want to be with you. And so I would draw the line right there, and then the manipulation would come in, and I'm sorry, and I was just really tired. I had a hard day at work, and of course, I fell for it. And so it just kept going on and on and on. And I think the one thing that drew my attention, and it's unfortunate that it had to happen, but he had made a promise to my daughter that he would take my kids. I don't know, we were going to take them somewhere. And he came home from work, and he decided to throw a tantrum fit, is what I call. And he turned around, and my daughter was like, I want to go. She was still very young. She was only like 9. I want to go. And you promised, Mom, you promised. So she's talking to me, but he's also in the car. And he turned around and he says, you know what? He's like, you're being a brat. He's like, and if I say we're not going, we're not going. And I had the most horrible feeling in my gut. Like, my throat was like, okay, this is not okay. I'm like, how dare he talks to my daughter like that? My kids are very good kids. And I was like, okay, this is it. We gotta get out of here. But it was so weird how I left, because one thing is, you date somebody, don't leave your stuff in the house. Like, I'm sorry, but
you gotta take it all then.
Yeah, do not leave your stuff at the house. It's dating, you do not live there. And so I like snuck out. I like told my children, hey, I apologize. This should have never happened. I should have saw the signs, and we're done with him. Because it's not just me, it's
right.
My kids are part of it. And I said, all I could say was sorry, and I didn't know. And I said, get all your stuff, we're leaving, and we're never gonna come back here again. And their faces, I mean, I feel so bad, because I wish that my children were old enough to talk to me. They didn't express to me how much they hated him.
Aww.
I know, and I was just like, oh, if they would have told me that, I would have never stayed.
Aww.
I would have left.
So they expressed that when they got older?
Oh yeah. And I just told them, I was like, I try to be as open with you guys so you can be open with me, but I guess it's a sticky situation since it was a fresh divorce,
Right.
a fresh new boyfriend, you know, and there's no right time, you know.
Right.
I mean, I could have dated that guy 10 years from the time I got divorced. The same thing could have happened.
Right.
So, you know, I ended up parting my ways, but I thought I parted ways. And no, he was just constantly, like, he started stalking me, like he started looking me up, and it didn't help that my sister worked with him. So he would have, he started manipulating my sister. And so my sister started telling him things that I was doing. And so I got upset with my sister, so that kind of messed up our relationship. Yeah, I was like, he's really after me, and she thought it was a joke. Like, when I started saying it, people are like, oh, come on. Like, who's gonna be after you? And I had ridden motorcycles at that time, and so he had my motorcycle, and he knows how to fix motorcycles. So when I told him, hey, I gotta pick up my motorcycle, because that was the last thing for me to pick up, he kept not letting me get it. And I said, look, you're gonna either give me my motorcycle, or I'm gonna call the cops and get my motorcycle. It's my motorcycle. And so he's like, okay, fine, you can come at this time. So I went to pick it up. I drove it home, and I had someone follow me, I don't remember, a friend or something, all the way home. And then like 2 days later, I went to go ride with my friends, and the one piece that holds the tire in the back was completely loose. And I was driving on Highway 12, and people die on Highway 12. And all I heard was the back piece fall and drag as I'm riding. And so I had to pull over, and my friends that, you know, rode my motorcycles with me said, have you ever checked your bike? And I said, well, yeah. I said, my bike's, all the lug nuts are always tight. He says, no, someone loosened it up. He said, because this doesn't get loose unless you like really get in there and unloose. And I just got the chills, because I knew who it was.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he did it. And I just couldn't believe what somebody would actually do that. Like, I could have died.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it just kept continuing. So I never rode again. After that, I was just scared.
Yes.
I never rode again. And I ended up selling the bike. And then I would still go and visit my sisters in the Bay Area. And every time I would go, my personal property was getting damaged. My vehicles were getting, you know, he was throwing oil on my tire brakes, breaking into my car. Now he was breaking into my sister's vehicles, like, because he knew where my sisters lived.
Wow.
I mean, it was horrible. So I ended up getting a restraining order, and I ended up finding a device, a tracking device underneath my car, and and where I live, it's
That's
like,
how he knew where you were.
he knew where I was.
Wow.
I didn't even know, and I had a feeling, and I said, how is it possible that he knows where I am?
Right.
There's no way. And I told the officer, the detective, because I had a case, and he says, no. He's like, you're fine, everything's fine. And I said, no, he knows where I am. So I happened to have a friend that worked for a smog company, and I said, hey, I need you to lift the car. I need you to lift my truck and check if there's a tracking device under there. And he looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, no, I have a stalker. I need you to look up underneath. Please really look.
You need to at least relieve your mind of it, yeah.
And at first, the kid was looking under there, right? They had a kid working there. And he goes, no, I don't see anything. And he goes, oh, let me check one more time. So he went to go check, and he came back with this huge device. I mean, it was bulky. That thing had battery life for 6 months. And I was like, oh my God. I just went into tears. And I was like, I can't even comprehend why this is happening. Why would he do this? You know, and I ended up calling the cops, and the cops, like, they didn't even understand what it was, because stalking doesn't happen, never happened in our small town. So they didn't know what to do with it. And I was like, okay, well, maybe you should, like, open it up and find out who it's registered to.
Right.
Like, I'm the one that's telling them, like, you have to find out who it's registered. Well, they had to get a court order in order to do it, and they wouldn't give it to them. So it kind of just sat in evidence. And then I asked them, what happens, you know, how long is it going to sit there?
Right.
Well, it'll just sit there, and then eventually we'll throw it away. And I'm like, throw it away?
Right.
That's my life.
They don't do anything unless he actually comes and physically attacks you.
And that's what they kept saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Like, so I had started, you know, carrying knives on me. I got a little stun gun. mind you, I'm so new. I don't know how to use any of this stuff. I even went and took a little gun license to say like I can buy a gun. It's not the license where you can learn how to shoot the gun. And I was getting advice from the officers like, yeah, he's trying to kill you. You should carry something on you. You should have something on you. I mean, I would have knives on me, like the knives were like that big, and they wouldn't even confiscate them from me because of my case. And they're like, you know how to use that thing? And I'm like, no, I don't. But if he's in front of me, I'm going to.
Right.
And so it was just, that was an ongoing thing for 4 years.
Jeez.
4
Yeah, and
years.
there's nothing really, and if you're listening to this, restraining orders are definitely worth getting because it helps kind of monitor the person that is doing this to you, is abusive or stalking or anything like that. So it's definitely worth getting, but it doesn't protect you.
It will not protect you. I learned that the hard way. Yeah. I went into a Safeway, and I saw him, and my heart dropped, and I went into panic mode. And you think you're not going to, because I'm not afraid. I wasn't afraid. I think I'm a tough girl. But I ended up shaking, had my newborn with me. So it was like I was on flight mode where I don't care about my life, but he's not going to hurt my daughter. This is a brand new baby, how am I going to? And what was crazy was that the person registering and the person behind me in line knew something was wrong. And they both looked at me, and I kept looking back because I thought, I need to know where he is. I need to know where he's going. And I lost him. I lost him in the grocery store because I was in the line ready to go. And the lady, I couldn't even pay. And she's like, what's wrong? Something's wrong. And then the lady behind me too was like, something's wrong. And I said, I didn't even think to tell him to call the cops. I just said, I need someone to walk me out to my car. I just wanted to go, And now that I think back, I should have called the cops right then and there. But when I got in the car, I did. What happened with the restraining order was they put the wrong date of birth for him. And because they did that, they couldn't match him. They couldn't find him in the system. So I'm in the parking lot, and I'm like, I can't leave. I need to see where he is because he might follow me home. And I didn't have my husband with me at the time, which he was my boyfriend at the time. And I'm like, I'm by myself with a newborn. What am I supposed to do? They didn't come till the next day. And when they came, there was like 5 of them. And I was really bitter and upset. And I was like, what are you going to do for me? He was going to kill me yesterday. I'm safe today. And then I thought to myself, okay, I need to protect myself. Like, if I see him again, it's near him. And it's unfortunate to say that, but they're not gonna, it's a piece of paper. And if he gets me and he kills me, then yeah, I'll be on ID. I'll be that girl that tried to, it's like, and I would tell them that, they would laugh, and I'm like, I'm not playing, I watch ID every day. Like, I know exactly what I should be looking for, and this piece of paper is not going to save my life. So
it's just gonna help you catch him when he kills me.
But he was very good. He was very good. He was always 10 steps ahead of me. As much as I was ahead of him, I would try to be, he was always ahead of me.
That's so scary.
Yeah. And I don't know, we ended up going to court, and the judge was really strict in Stanislaus County and told him, you will lose everything if you continue to bother her. She's like, I don't understand. But he was like how do you say it, the Heidel and Jack and Heidel?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he went to court, and it was like he was a totally different person. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes. And he would even say hi to me. It was the weirdest thing. I'm like, please don't talk to me. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to talk to you. And he would say, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh my God, he's
no
psycho.
conscience.
Oh yeah, it's like he's psycho.
He's sociopath.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So finally, I had to gate up my house. My house was fully locked down. I felt like I was in jail. And then now finally I'm here in this new town, and I feel so free. I can actually open a window and feel the breeze come in, where I had pieces of wood on my window back home, and I had bars in my front door. That was ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And if somebody out there tells you that they feel that their life is in danger, or they have a stalker, or, don't laugh. Take the time to find out what's going on. The problem is people don't want to get involved. They want nothing to do with it. But you can save someone's life.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't even matter what you do. You can call someone else that can help that person.
Or even just listening, sometimes you just want somebody to listen and believe you.
That's the thing, believe. Nobody believes you. They think you did something to cause the stalker. Is it because you're too pretty? Is it, because you were, flirtatious with them? That doesn't have to be. It just could be that person is that.
And you were with that person for a year until,
Yeah. And
you didn't really
dating
show
afterwards was hard too. Nobody wanted to date me because I felt like I had to say, hey, I have a stalker. Because
for their safety too.
For their safety. Mm-hmm. For my friends and my family and people I was dating. And these guys would just take off. They're like, oh, no, I'm sorry, I don't want anything to do with that. And I'm like, wow, you're not a man. And Nathan actually ended up sticking around. And I told him, I said, you don't have to stick around. And he's like, no. He's like, he doesn't scare me. Why? If he's going to come and hurt us. And, he even damaged Nathan's property too, and his vehicle. And I wasn't even dating him then. I was just friends with him. And it was embarrassing. It was so humiliating and embarrassing for me. And Nathan was such a great friend at that time that, he didn't make me feel like it was my fault. He made me feel like, yeah, you were the victim.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't my fault. And from listening to all the other people, I felt like it was my fault. He was the only one that believed, and my other sister. They just believed and they were there to protect.
Wow.
But
yeah, and that's a big thing. I think talking to psychologists, friends that work with victims, and one of the big things is victims just want somebody to relate to and somebody that believes them and somebody that's been there and some hope. You want hope that you can live a different life and live the life that you imagined. Yeah. Because that was definitely not it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I had a lot of my single friends that were like, oh my God, I've been dating for years. I've been single for years and I've never had anything like this happen to me. You divorced one time and 1 year later you got a stalker.
Well, that makes me think of, most women that are in an abusive relationship, and sometimes they tell themselves that they're not in an abusive relationship if it's not physical, and mental abuse is such a huge part of domestic violence. It doesn't have to get physical to be abuse, and a lot of times I think women tell themselves, well, I'm not going to find somebody better, or it just seems like too much work to...
Or I have kids.
If I divorce him, then what about the money? Where am I going to live? How am I going to take care of my kids? How am I ever going to find somebody else that will love me? And it's really, it can be a downward spiral, and we really need to be there for those women. And if you see the warning signs, it's very important to make friends with that person. See if they just want to talk, if they just want to go to coffee, and maybe you can help them through that.
Yeah, it's just encouraging. Like, I definitely, with all the experiences that I've gone through in my life, I love talking about them, not because I like to remember what happened, because, when you talk about it, you remember everything, and it just kind of puts you back in that place. But I want to talk about it because I know there's someone else going through it, and they are looking for an exit. They need to know how to get out of it. And my door's always open. I always tell people, like, come and just talk to me. I'll tell you. Maybe it might not be the right way, but at least you know that there is a way out. There is. The grass is greener on the other side. And it doesn't mean that it's greener because you found someone. No. It's greener because you got out of a toxic relationship. And now you have time for yourself. You have time to find yourself. And believe in yourself because you doubted yourself. That's the reason why you're in the situation, because you didn't believe in yourself. You didn't think you were strong enough, but you are.
You are.
You are strong. So, I want to share that with everybody, that, you can get out. You just have to.
And it's a struggle at first with my, in my circumstance, it was a struggle with money, and it took me 10 years to change my life. It took me 10 years to change everything around to where I am, and it was a struggle, but it was 100 times worth it. It was worth living paycheck to paycheck. It was worth my kids eating grilled cheese and macaroni and cheese and top ramen, and water, water and milk, and living off of WIC or whatever you have to do, to survive. It is worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived, you can live pretty inexpensively and be happy.
Yeah.
And I can remember those days of, struggle. And even when I got with John, when John and I were dating, his wife was very, very abusive. She is a sociopath, and she was very manipulative to the courts, and he had to pay a lot of child support. And I took all my ex-husband's debt. And so even though he was making pretty good money and I was working and making pretty good money, we had like no money and kids, and you know what though? It was worth it. It was worth that freedom of mind, of no stress on me to be a specific person, and that weight,
The weight.
Yeah. And it's not. There's no amount of money that's worth staying for. And those are just material things. There's enough of us women out here that will help you with things you need. The Warrior Forge Project is here and trying to grow and help women out of that, fear of staying, and trying to train young women to not get into that position in the first place. So.
Yeah, I think they need to know. Our generation is a lot different than when we grew up with our parents. We didn't know there was even red flags back then.
Right.
And now it's like
everything was pretty much hush hush, and now with social media and everything, everything's kind of out in the open.
Which there's there are good things about it and there's bad
Yeah.
things, because right now obviously there's going to be a lot of people that are very opinionated about what we're talking about.
You should see if there's any messages.
I know
we'll be better with this next time, guys. I should have my iPad in front of me so I can answer your questions and talk to you guys, but this is our first time, so we'll get better.
See, it's not even pulling up the.
I see the messages on the screen, but they're way over there.
See, and I don't even see that you're on Facebook Live. Like, it didn't give me a notification. But
obviously, we're on Facebook Live because I see the messages.
Yeah, but see, it doesn't.
And my phone hasn't rang and interrupted it yet.
That's good.
So I must have done something right.
Yeah, it doesn't let me. It doesn't bring me up to your Facebook Live for some reason. Even when I pulled you up by name.
It's not. It's on Warrior Forge Project.
Oh.
You're looking on my personal.
We should have known that from the beginning, huh?
See? Just little fixes, There's so much to talk about, though, in regards to domestic violence awareness. And it's just such a huge topic and such a huge problem.
Hey, there we are.
You found it, yay!
Oh, it's gonna talk.
And now she's like, 10 seconds behind watching.
Yeah. I don't get to see us. Oh, but you know what? I don't see. Why don't I see? I don't see. Oh, they're there. I was like, opinions are like. Love you, ladies. Hi, Amy.
So yeah, we're trying to figure out what the best platform is for live video, as well as how to do all of the audio at the same time. So
I know it seems like there's more comments on there than what I'm seeing.
Yeah. We'll answer them later.
Yeah.
So-
Sorry guys, we're still working on that.
Yeah.
We'll have like an iPad here so we can.
We'll have that covered next time.
Yeah.
We promise we'll get better at this. So yes, just so you guys out there know what we're doing, we're gonna have a different topic every month. It's been hard for us to do podcasts weekly, let alone monthly or quarterly, because we're so busy out there doing our thing. So we are going to try to have a theme of the month. So obviously October was Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we're ending it with the podcast. We are doing a seminar at Beale Air Force Base this coming Tuesday for families in regards to domestic violence awareness. We have, with the Warrior Forge Project, we have 4 more seminars this year. We have one in LA this coming weekend on Sunday. We have one in Tulsa on November 9th, and we have one in Atlanta on November 7th, and then we have one in Boise on November 17th. I believe it's November 17th. Check our events, make sure. Those are our final 4 seminars of 2019. We should be doing a lot of seminars in 2020. And we're continuing our program. Obviously, we're going to Tulsa and Atlanta and Boise, so we are spreading our wings and trying to get the word out there. And we are developing other programs as well. So we're busy out there doing seminars as well as training our instructors to teach self-defense. And if you're new to the Warrior Forge Project, our mission is to inspire and empower women, teens, families, and children to be the best versions of themselves and learn self-defense through martial arts, and to develop that, empowerment to not fear walking on the street or the possibility of getting into an abusive relationship. We want to train women and train children to prevent violence from happening to them, and that is our goal and our mission, and it's going strong.
It is. I love the Warrior Forge. So I met Stacey because my husband does BJJ, and he went around because we're new to the area. We're about a year now, but he went around looking and trying out every single school in Roseville, Rockland, and we came across Infinite, and he just could not stop talking about Infinite and just the people there and how it felt so good to be in, like he didn't feel out of place. And then he came to me and he says, hey, there's a lady there that does self-defense. And I was like, did you say self-defense? And I was like, what kind of self-defense? And he goes, well, you always want to protect yourself. And I'm not sure, but she teaches it, and she teaches it for free. So my 2 things was, it's self-defense, and I come from a background of, my stuff, the abuse and everything, and stalking, and now being in real estate, I have to seriously watch my back at all times. And then she said free. And I'm like, okay, nothing's free. And I'm like, what's the catch, But
Everybody always thinks there's a catch.
there's always a catch, yeah, right? It's like, I'm like, okay, nothing is free. What's going on? So I was nervous because I'm here. I don't have any friends here. And he's like, do you want to go with me? But I couldn't because I had the kids. And I said, no, I can do this. I'm going to go by myself because my daughter couldn't come. And so it was like a lot of people the first time I came to Rockland. It was like over 60 to 100 people. I don't know, so many women and young girls. It varied on age. We signed a waiver and we just got right into it. And I was like, I could tell that there was some women that you can see it in their face that really did go through something, some sort of an abuse. And then you have the other ones that are young and they don't know, and they're just like, oh, self-defense class, this is fun. So I'm just glad that all types were there, because you never know when you're going to get into that situation. But when I met Stacey, she looks very intimidating.
No way.
And I'm just like, oh man, she could kick my butt. You know, it's like the first thing I'm thinking. And but when you start talking to her, you're like, and I can't look at her because then I'll start crying. You know, I started talking to her, and I was just like, oh man, she gets it. Like, I get it. I can't believe she's doing this. Like, where has she been all my life? You know, I mean, I needed this. I needed somebody like her 4 years ago. I didn't have anybody else, completely alone. And not only just her, but the team that she was working with. Those girls had stories.
It's all about the team.
Oh my gosh, they had stories, and it just like, it was in my throat, and I was just like, don't cry, because I'm like obviously new, and I'm like surrounded by so many women. I'm like, don't cry here, don't cry, you're here because this is where you're supposed to be. And I mean, we've been friends ever since. I actually started doing BJJ in the morning, and I mean, it's until I got hurt. But it's been one of the most exciting things I could have done. It was just like, everything fell into place, and she's so inspiring. Stacey's so inspiring. When you talk with her, you're just like, wow, I didn't know that. And the stuff that she teaches, she knows so much martial arts. You know, I mean, I came as a teenager from martial arts, but she just, I didn't even know there was Filipino martial arts, and I mean, I took to that. So I mean, I really want to continue doing that. BJJ, I never thought I would do it because I'm like sweaty people. I don't want them on me. They're too close. And but when you get that feeling of choking someone out or being choked out, it's like, oh my gosh,
addicting.
It is. And you're just like, okay, it puts you in a position where, what if I get stuck in this position? What if someone tries to rape me, or someone tries to pin me down? You have to, what would you say, it was like muscle memory. Your muscle memory will get you out of it, versus you not ever knowing, and you're stuck and you're doomed. Like, that's it, there's your life because you just got raped, you know? It's so empowering to have that just naturally come out. It's the fight, you gotta be ready to get out. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I don't know, I'm just so grateful, and this is why I'm here, because I'm all about the Warrior Forge, I'm all about the self-defense, I'm all about the BJJ, I'm all about the any type of martial arts, because you have to. I mean, I have girls, and I look at my girls and I cry, because I'm like, oh my God, I have girls.
Girls are so hard.
They are, and it's like, no, I want a girl that she's gonna be the sweetest thing. Like, if you ever go see Stacey fight, she goes up there on that mat with smiles, and I'm like, how does she do that? You know, where other people have their game face, and they're just like, they want to go, and they're trying to murder, and their face is all angry and mad, and you know, they're in the zone, but she's so happy. And then she starts fighting, you're like, holy heck, she's gonna murder this person. You know, and it's like, yes, that's what I want. That's what I teach my girls. Like, be the sweetest person you could be, but if someone gets near you, you take them down. Mm-hmm. Like, and I was taught that way by my stepdad. Don't let anybody, and this is why it all fits in with me with the Warrior Forge, because my stepdad trained me that way. He was also an officer, and he was in the Army, and he was in my life at the right time as a teenager.
To see that example,
and so we protected ourselves, and he's like, no, you're gonna protect yourself. Mm-hmm. At whatever cost. Mm-hmm. And so just right now, it just totally fits in my life. And I'm 41, guys, okay? My hips don't work as well, but no, you just gotta keep going, you just gotta keep doing it. And yeah, you're gonna get injured along the way, but
and there's a place for everyone. You know, the mental part is just as important as the physical part, and that's what we talk about a lot in the Warrior Forge Project and in our seminars, is building up the mental strength to be able to protect yourself and draw those boundaries and see the warning signs, see the cues the predator uses, so that you don't get in a physical confrontation. But if you do get into that physical confrontation, that you can take care of yourself. And so, you know, Linda's kind of been a little more distant lately because she's had some injuries and some physical things she's had to deal with. But there's always a place for you in the Warrior Forge project, because it's not all about the physical. We need, you know, the Warrior Forge project is a business, even though it's a nonprofit, and we have so much room for everybody in this nonprofit, because it's going to take an army to complete our mission. And I actually don't think our mission will ever be completed, because there's always going to be a need for violence prevention. And you know, we're getting into areas of protecting people from sex trafficking and bullying and all these different areas that were needed. And so there's room for everyone. You know, we got to talk about these topics.
Yeah, because bullying is one topic, trafficking is another topic,
Right.
and it's just, there is a lot to say about each individual one. But yeah, I mean, I got my Krav Maga instructor license with Stacey, and then I got injured afterwards. But still, I could still go, and even though I can't participate, I could still be there to encourage the girls, and you know, maybe put their posture a little bit correct, because they're not going to know how to do that. You know, I feel like I'm pretty good at that, and just help out in whatever Stacey needs when it comes to instructing, because the classes do get really big, and there's a lot of women there, and you just want to make sure that they're doing the posture part of it right. It's not about always
they're
taking
getting their ansers,
yeah,
you know, their questions answered.
like,
and
why do you hold it
with,
here, and why do you hold this way, and how do you get out of that? I mean, a lot of questions.
And with a big group, it is hard to answer questions or be there. You know, sometimes with a big group, if there's only a couple instructors, there might be somebody like you in the crowd that really wants to talk to us, but feels like, oh, it's too busy, maybe I'll email them later. But it's important for them to be able to reach out to us at that time. So it's important for us to have enough instructors that the women in the class can reach out if they want.
And then you have your different class of people in there too. You have your shy people, and then you have the aggressive people, and then you have the clowning around people.
Yes.
So it's like you gotta kind of keep everybody in order, because you don't want anybody getting hurt. The goal is not to get hurt. The goal is just to learn the technique. You have to learn the technique, and then if you have to use it by force, that's only because you're in danger. You don't ever use it just to play around and hurt somebody. I mean, it's pretty serious, and you can choke somebody out to the point where they pass out, and you can break someone's arm.
You can.
You know, and it's not to play with. So, you know, I don't know. I say take the class and try it out, and you never know if you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
It could be for you.
If you have ideas on topics or you want us to talk about specific things, send us messages, email us.
Yeah, if you got a story,
Mm-hmm.
you know, sometimes talking about your story really puts the weight off your shoulders. So I have several friends that are going through some stuff, and I've told them they're more than welcome to come and join our podcast and talk about their situation, because it's something that's happening now, and they're in a situation where, you know, they have to figure out what they're going to do now. This is not something that happened in the past. It's something that we could help prevent in the future.
Right.
You know, we could save their life. So, yeah, reach out to Stacey, and we'll be here if you guys need us.
Absolutely. All right. Love you guys out there, and we will, like I said, get better at this podcasting thing, especially the live part. None of us are real excited about being on camera, but we know that it's part of, you know, social media and what we have to do to get the word out there. So if you have any suggestions or want to be on the show or have a topic or want to send in videos of, you know, talking about your experiences, that's all available to you. So reach out to us, and remember to be your own hero, be Warrior Forged.
Thank you, guys.